Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do my 2018 makeup goals. Excited to share them with you. Last year I had 17 goals and that was lovely because I did like 17 goals, wonderful. But I just felt a little bit overwhelmed and last year was kind of a just a transition year, I think, for me a lot, and I feel like this year might be too. I don't know yet, but obviously it hasn't started, but just some things I think might happen, might be a little bit of a transition. So I want to be kind to myself, and I gave myself 8 goals, not necessarily the easiest goals, but definitely goals. So the first one was very similar to the first one's very similar to the one I had in my last one. I copied and pasted it directly, and it is to keep my face and eye primers, my foundations, my powders, BB creams, and concealers all between 1 and 2. I worked really hard a few years ago to get those into the 1 and 2 category. Some of them, like concealers, I wouldn't mind having 3 or 4, just because if I do have one for under eyes and blemishes, and then I'm really close to finishing those and I have backups and stuff, but I'd really like to keep it between that 1 and 2, not get very much more, because I don't go back and forth between like concealers or foundations very often. So I have foundations and BB creams, so I can mix them or have one or the other. But yeah, so that is the first goal. The second goal is to finish 10 grams of highlights. This last year, I really found the importance of this scale. So I'm going to be weighing products and try and be using a certain, at least for 3 categories, really try and use up a certain amount versus trying to use up a certain amount of highlight versus like trying to finish up 4 highlights or whatever. Like so if I do switch between highlights, I have some, a little bit of wiggle room. So I have to weigh a bunch of things tonight before I use them tomorrow. But I don't know how realistic that is either. The next, when I decide to weight, I'm going to see how it goes. But if I use 10 grams of highlight, it's not like I'm going to be like, okay, done for the year, but I just kind of want to see what it looks like, 10 grams of highlight. And so the number 3 is 10 grams of bronzer. Again, I wanted to, I don't know how realistic that is at all. So I want to try, and I do have my first highlight and bronzer are cream products. So I know that might look a little bit different in terms of grams as well. But I do want to work through bronzer and highlight, and I thought this would be a good way because I know those things can take a long time. And so then for blushes, I put blushes and cream blushes together, and I want to finish 12 grams of those within the year. So a gram a month. Again, I don't know how realistic these are, but I want to try it, and I'm going to try and update every 3 months and see how it goes, and maybe I'll push up the numbers or be a little bit more specific. But this year I try to be a little bit more broad with what I want to use up to try and motivate myself a little bit more. The 5th goal is to continue my 2018 Pan That palette, and if you watch that video, then you kind of understand what that means, because I don't know how many trios, how many duos, how many palettes, how many eyeshadow pans I want to use up this year. I really just want to continue with that, and so yeah, that's why that one's in there specifically, is because I do want to continue working on eyeshadow, and that Pan That palette I think is going to be a great way to do that. But I don't know what I'm going to be using. So anyways, that's why that goes in there. Number 6 is to finish 6 eye products. That could be eyeliners, that could be cream eyeshadows, eyebrow products, anything eye related. Mascaras, I don't know if I'm going to include in that, to be honest. So anyways, I didn't have a specific one for mascaras, but I do want to finish more than 6, including mascaras. I don't know. So I don't know if I'm going to include mascaras. We will, like I said, keep going, kind of probably tweak it a little bit as we go along, but I want to have at least a starting point, because I don't have products I want to finish necessarily. I just want to work on a lot of products. Number 7 is to finish 12 lip products. This last year I finished 6, so that'd double it, and I want to finish at least 1 a month, and so I'm gonna have 1 a month in my monthly project pan that I'm gonna carry with me everywhere, do everything, seriously be attached to me. That is my plan and my goal. And then if I use other lip products along the way, So it's probably not going to be a lip balm. So if I finish other lip products on the way, great. But there's going to be one that's going to be attached to me. I want to finish it this month. I'm going to do everything my power to finish it that month. So that's my plan. We'll see how well I stick to it. The very last goal is 8. And if you watch my 2017 makeup goals recap, I kind of talked about this. I have 2 different makeup inventories. One with just numbers and one with just like names of products. So if I happen to have more than one product, it's still counted as 1, but then my just numbers one, it's counted as 2 if I have 2 of them. So I went off my just numbers one this year. Last year I went off my other one. That's because I just finished I just did my just numbers one this last year. So right now I have 264 makeup products ish. There might be a little bit more, a little bit less. I need to make sure, like, I'm going to go through my inventory again and really go through it. When you have that many makeup products, it's hard to keep track, especially when you have like so many blushes and lip products that you don't like rotate through very frequently. So yes, that's part of like using those lip products. But 264, I want to use up 30 I want to have a negative 30 products by the end of the year. So that means if I use a foundation, but then I buy a foundation, it's 0. If I use a blush and buy a blush, it's 0, you know. So I want to have minus 30 products in my collection by the end of the year. So right now I have 264, just like numbers, sheer numbers, and I want 234 at least, or like the minimum or the maximum by the end of the year. I'd like to have less than 234 products, to be in all honesty, but I don't know how realistic that is. Like I said, my Pan That palette's really going to determine that a lot, because if I get one that's bigger, and like I said, definitely check that video out if you're very confused, but yeah, I want to have minus 30 products. That means I really need to work on lip products and blushes as well this year. So yes, stay tuned for my January project pan so we can get this started, get this like working, so we can figure out what products I'm working on for at least January.